Greetings, everyone. This is Rock and Roll Spot coming at you with my review of Bloodshot. So, first, I'm going to preface this. Yes, Bloodshot is based on a comic book. However, Bloodshot is not a comic book character or title that I'm overly familiar with. What I do know is that Bloodshot is a character inhabiting the Valiant Comics universe, and he's basically a super soldier enhanced by nanites. I think the only comic I even have with the character, I can definitively think off the top of my head, is Deathmate Red from from close to 30 years ago. So, yeah. So I'm not going to be talking about the comic accuracy or whatnot. From what I can tell, it seems fairly spot on, so it's got that going for it. Anyways, on to Bloodshot, the movie. The movie is about a Marine who, after being murdered, is brought back via nanites only to go rogue for vengeance, or so he thinks. Some quick takes. It's a fun action flick that honestly delivers as such. However, it does suffer from the trailers giving too much of the story away. So, onto the cast of note. We've got Vin Diesel as Ray Garrison, or Bloodshot. A Marine brought back from death by nanites by the RST Corporation. It's Vin Diesel playing the Vin Diesel role. So, yeah. Next up, we got Guy Pearce as Dr. Emil Harding. He's the head of RST. He's a scientist working on creating and/or claiming credit for new breakthroughs in weaponization. Largely. Pretty much all of the breakthroughs that he's come up with, sure, they have practical uses, but he's more interested in their potential use in warfare. Hey, money, right? Next up, we got Elza Gonzalez as KT. She's an ex-Navy diver with that had I cannot remember the specific nature of the injury, but an injury that hindered her from breathing, and so she was given an implant on her chest that basically filters out toxins in the air, allows her to breathe underwater without any further enhancement or without any further equipment. So no scuba gear, no gas masks. Yeah, she can walk into a room. You could pop a tear gas grenade right in front of her. She's like, "Gee, that's nice." Next up, we've got Sam, and I'm probably going to butcher this name, but Hewan as Jimmy Dalton. He's an ex-SEAL who lost his legs to an IED. The prosthetics that he's been given by RST, however, have actually made him much faster on foot. He also has a battle harness that he can use in extreme situations that bolts on. It basically connects directly to his spine. I presume it allows him a degree of mental control. Kind of when he's got that on, he can. It seems as though he can basically use the arms of the harness, which are longer than his own arms, just as easily as using his actual arms. Next up, we got Toby Kebbell as Martin Axe. Ray's first target. Highly entertaining in the flashback simulation. Lamorne Morris as Wilfred Wiggins, a seemingly legendary programmer, coder, and honestly a really great comic relief character. Then we got Siddharth Dhananjay as Eric, who's an RST programmer and coder, has an affinity for pop culture, and is also a fairly decent comic relief character. Finally, we have Alex Hernandez as Tibbs, an ex-sniper who lost the use of his eyes, has implants as well as a harness that basically allow him to see everything. He can link up to satellites, especially namely RST satellites, and use surveillance satellites, drones to keep an eye on everything. So on to the breakdown of the movie. So movie opens with Marine Ray Garrison saving a hostage in Kenya, only for him and his wife to be later kidnapped and murdered by terrorist Martin Axe. However, Garrison then comes to at RST with no memory of who he is or what's happened to him. Being told he now has nanites in his blood, or better yet, 4 blood, and those nanites can repair any damage done to his body. Also, he experiments with his ability. He meets the other former service members that RSC has helped, KT, Dalton, and Tibbs. And then he actually kind of experiments a bit with his new enhanced abilities. However, while having a drink with KT, Ray remembers the murders of him and his wife, and goes out to kill Martin Axe, having utilized his nanites to find Axe. In Budapest, Ray wades through Axe's security detail with ease before dispatching him. The next day, KT, Dalton, and Tibbs pick up Ray, who has nearly depleted his nanites, and take him back to RST, where we learn that Ray's memory of his death was actually a simulation. With Axe now, and the simulation is about to be re-uploaded to him, with Axe replaced with the next and apparently final name on Dr. Emil Harding's kill list. Once again, Ray goes out for vengeance, though RST's plans are somewhat thwarted by Wilfred Wiggins, coder who actually provided Ray's final target with an EMP device, which Wiggins managed to use to knock Ray out, as the EMP knocks out all machinery, or all electricity within. I'm not the radius on it isn't entirely made clear, but he manages to revive Ray and basically tell him what's going on. You've been going after these guys not because they killed your wife, but because you were told they killed your wife. So RST sends out Dalton Tibbs to bring in Ray, and it's actually a really cool chase/action sequence, mainly between Ray and Dalton. And Dalton gets the hell beat out of him by Ray, but Tibbs is able to intervene and allow RST to regain control of Ray's nanites. So he gets brought in, and KT is sent to bring in Wiggins, which all leads to the film's big, messy climax, which actually has a sequence with Ray looking as the closest he does the entire movie to the character. Okay, there. You get some comic accuracy bits there. So, ups and downs. Honestly, you got some really good action scenes with, for the most part, quality visual effects. More on that later. The cast is good. Not great. Lamorne Morris and Toby Kebbell are honestly the 2 high points of the cast. With Morris actually being, because of the degree of Morris's role in the film, compared to Kebbell's, he easily becomes gives the film a standout performance. As mentioned, Kebbell's performance in the simulation sequence as the terrorist Martin Axe is actually really entertaining. I mean, I was actually really impressed by that. It's like, I don't know what the jig is, but that's actually really cool to watch, and I'd love, oh, well, never mind, that's not how the character actually is. The story's, not bad. It's not great, but it's not bad. It's, fairly well directed. None of the action scenes came off as being too sloppy. On the downside, as I mentioned earlier, it does suffer from the previews revealing too much. I think it would have been much better if I think that the movie would have hit a bit harder. Well, mainly the reveal scene when we find out, oh, he's being toyed with. If the trailers hadn't said, yeah, he's being toyed with by RST. In fact, during Ray's escape from RST and going after Axe, the control room scene is that everyone's actually acting very tense, and yet when it's all said and done, it's like, okay, yeah, we just okay, cool. He did what he was supposed to do. All right. Let's wind the simulate. Let's bring up simulation to re-implant it. Another downside: some of the CGI in the climax is lacking in points. It kind of seems like they got to that point, like, oh, we can only do unless we get more money, we can only do this. Like, well, then that's what we'll do. Past events are mentioned in dialogue but not shown. The fact that Ray has killed a whole bunch of people, yeah. Also, some of the edits and camera angles suggest that this was initially supposed to be rated R rather than PG-13, which it's a small thing, but it's like, that was some good editing to avoid potential nudity, gruesome death scenes. Lighting also helps to tone down the gruesomeness, so, like the scene shown in the trailer where Bloodshot gets shot in the face, and you see his face kind of, pull away, and then the nanites come back and reform it. And this isn't anything against the movie, or really even a downside, but I'm really speaking for me, but it really makes one want to listen to the song Psycho Killer by the Talking Heads. A lot. So, overall opinion, honestly, it's a solid action movie with generally good effects until the climax, and sadly, just for the most part, just okay acting, aside from a few bright spots that I mentioned earlier. Rating-wise, I give it a 3.5 out of 5. It's above average, but not too far above average. Anyway, that's it for now. As always, feel free to like, share, and subscribe. Links to my Facebook, Twitter, Patreon, and PayPal can be found in the description box down below. This is Rock and Roll Spock signing off, saying, live long and rock hard.